right, guys, welcome to the State of the Industry. This one is titled Training. Obviously, I brought you guys around because you are some of the best trainers that I personally know in the industry. And I just wanted to have a very open, candid conversation about where we are currently at in the state of training within the gun industry. Is that cool? The first thing we're going to do, though, I want everybody to introduce ourselves. So, Ms. Paige, could you start?
Ladies first, thanks. My name's Paige Roux, otherwise known as Some Chick Who Shoots. I started an online, basically training Instagram account, but my family owns 3 indoor ranges, so I've been in the training world on honestly the law enforcement side, helping my dad. And then I realized that there was a huge hole in the industry with helping women get comfortable. I would go to all these high-level training classes, and I was like, why am I the only girl, and why is it bad that my hair is curled? And so I kind of just started this specializing in women and new shooters and helping them get comfortable with training through my Instagram, and then also traveling around the country and teaching.
That's a great answer. Yeah, follow that.
I guess I'm next.
Follow this.
My name is Tre'von Barber, owner of Barber Training Solutions, and currently the affiliate marketing director at Right to Bear. Was the training director at Palmetto State Armory, so just kind of mixing and mingling that stuff. I've been teaching for, I think, 7 years now, but in the industry for about 12. And I teach everything from basics, but my bread and butter is teaching competitive shooting to your performance style shooting to intermediate and advanced shooters.
My name is Devin Guignard. I go by Smiley. Active duty military, firearms instructor and armor, I guess you could say, for the military. I've been in the industry for about 4 years. I've been teaching since 2016. My bread and butter is the new shooter. That's what we do for work. I have thousands of hours teaching. I started teaching with Tre'von here and some other friends with Phase 2 a couple years ago, and then occasionally just small classes, but more focused on kind of educating everybody, right, our viewers on firearms technology, all that type of stuff.
Kerry Dugan with Archangel Defense. Been instructing coaching for about 7 years. We went full-time, going on 5 years now, in a state where you don't have to come see me to get a concealed carry permit, so we made it work. It's been a blessing, and my whole goal is building quality shooters and quality instructors.
This is a conversation that could go any direction. Really, y'all can jump in on this one too. But women shooters.
Yeah.
What is the gun industry not doing correct when it comes to catering towards women shooters?
So the best way that I can explain it, I actually just did a talk at Shot University kind of speaking about this, but because I did
This is Shot Show Underground.
Huh? Yeah, right? So basically what I did, because I started training or teaching full-time at 21, and I was a young female, and I was like, how are these guys going to respect me? How am I going to get respect in this industry? So what I ended up doing was picking out the highest level trainers that I knew of. I just went on Instagram and I was like, where are trainers near me? Who can I partner with? Who do I like following? And I basically said, come out to Arizona and we'll host you at our range. And I wanted to take their class. And so I would take their classes as the only female, but what I wanted to really do was A, gain respect in the industry, but B, kind of figure out, like, are there other women doing this, and where is this gap? And then that's how I found my gap in this industry, in the training world. But what I've noticed, and the best way that I can explain it, is the more trained an instructor or a trainer is, the more advanced they want to train, the more advanced classes they want to teach. And then we just start to forget about the newbie. So then it's like, well, I think of it as, and what I've seen is they look down at the new trainer, and it's like, well, if you're a new trainer, you're training new shooters, you probably don't have that much experience. And it's like, no, that is my passion, is teaching that newbie. And so how I kind of compare it to is, it's like a calculus professor, right? If you don't know how to teach basic addition to an elementary school student and have them gain that passion to come up to you and learn calculus or high-level math, then what are you doing? And in these advanced classes, what I ran into was, even if women were in it and they had maybe a fundamental challenge, these high-level trainers couldn't teach them to their level and come down to their level. They just knew that high level, fast-paced, advanced type of training. And I'm like, you have to be able to do both. And I think that's where the industry really needs to take. And I know you train new shooters too, so I don't know, speak on that.
Yeah, so I think you said it earlier, but I think one of the biggest things that I think we could probably all agree on this is personality, right? When you have all types of shooters coming in, from women to foreign students to people that are just really uncomfortable, if you as an instructor are so high level that you can't can't tone yourself down to cater to that new shooter, you are doing yourself a disservice, right? Everybody wants to do the tactical shit. They want to, go shoot through walls, do all the pie in the corners, but it all starts at the bottom.
They want to look like these two.
But these two, he doesn't. I've taught with Tre'von. I've seen your stuff. Tre'von, he actually paired up with Des, and they went and they were teaching women classes. It really shows your ability to instruct, right? If you can't, that's where the lapse in this industry is at, and that's where these instructors need feedback from people who can. And I think due to the type of industry it is, it's difficult for other instructors to say, hey Trey, hey Paige, can you guys show me how to, turn it off? Because some of us have that extra little bit in us where we want to, give everything we can without being able to tone it back a little bit.
Well, and just the ability to be or to have that self-awareness of like, hey, I want to be coached. And I think another takeaway is instructors or trainers need to still take training and be a student. And I feel like once you become a trainer, it's like, oh, I'm the highest level. I'm like, no, we've taken training, and it's like, no, we get beaten down as trainers. And that's what I want, because that makes me a better trainer for my students.
I knew I have a marketing background and just pulling demographics and stuff like that females, and then from my neck of the woods, like black or brown females are now making up 40% of the new gun owners in the market. Just demographic and marketing. So I knew from a business aspect, like, okay, well, how do I tap into that? Sure, I'm a black guy, but I'm a guy. I'm not a girl. I didn't know any female trainers that were local to me on a Paige level. I'm just meeting her. Just looked her up the other day when we got connected in this group. But I didn't know anybody near me who I wouldn't have to personally teach to be one safe, or how do you teach? Are you easy to connect to? Because they might be a lady or a higher level shooter or instructor, doesn't mean that you can deliver information properly. So I found Des, and even though her teaching style, she was a comforter, but she was also, I had trained her 3 or 4 times myself. So her skill set was there, her ability to deliver information was there, and that's why I partnered up with her. So she flew across the country several times and filled up the classes and just delivered high level information from a basic standpoint all the way up to these ladies left with the ability to shoot a move within an 8-hour block of time. So.
And I follow her, and I feel like she's I love following her stuff, and I think she is incredible, and like you said, tapping into that. And we need more female trainers and trainers who are training that low level so that we can bring them up to the advanced level. And no, that's the marketing strategy, and tapping into that is great.
But what was the thought process of you developing that humility to actually go reach out to a girl? Because like she said, we don't see too many co-ed classes being taught. So where were you at with that?
I grew up with all sisters.
So you learned how to communicate with women early.
The oldest of all girls. But even then, so I shoot to a fairly high level. I teach to a fairly high level, but I have the humility to understand that just because I teach very well, and I've been told many times I teach well or I shoot well, that doesn't mean that I know what you need. But if I can see that this guy's been working with folks like yourself for a long time, I like what he's saying, I like what he's doing. Hey, what do you think about partnering up with me on making this happen? Hey Paige, what do you think about partnering? That makes sense. So I wanted to approach it from that aspect of, we can, one, control the product, meaning what we're giving out is high quality information, but 2, I want to make sure that the ladies felt comfortable, because the feedback I received when I sent out surveys of, if you're receiving information, the same exact information from a man or a woman, who would you prefer? Nothing else aside, but man or woman, and about 90% of those ladies said I would prefer it to come from a woman. Okay. Yeah, 10% who said a man, because they just felt like a man was manly and you should have the gun or yada yada. But 90% of those that we surveyed said if the woman and the man have the same credentials, they prefer to get it from a female. And then we also did that class based on the concealed carrier being confident, and if a lady needs to draw from a bra holster or something like that, well, we can't teach the a lady should be right. A lady should be the one going over these, idiosyncrasies, or might not feel comfortable doing certain stuff with me. Whereas I bring in Des, she could. Thank you.
I like that.
You had a point.
What Paige was touching on, I think that's one of the big problems in the industry is, I think this is the year for it, just the way everybody's been speaking, it's having this panel. Why I told them this is a blessing, I've been waiting for this. There's instructing and there's coaching. And if you cannot coach to that level, you shouldn't have your business. That's my honest opinion. You should be able to hit every level.
I like that. that separation.
Yeah. Coaching is different. Instructing is what my GPS does to get me here. It gives me directions, but it doesn't show me how. I still can get lost and make the wrong turn.
But Trey, hold on.
You're good.
Your scale of training and how you say people should be training at which level. Can you explain that for us?
So I was essentially saying if you're a grandmaster level instructor or shooter, you can train everybody. Now you might not want to, but you have the level of skill and understanding to do that. If you are let's say an A-class teacher, shooter, whatever the case is, and a master class student comes to you or a grandmaster and they need just this one little thing that clicks for them, with a person who has just an A-class amount of, I'd say just loosely, but who has the A-class amount of knowledge, you can't pass information up. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So where that was coming from.
You can tie that to almost anything, though, right? Because it's the class breakdown. People don't take into the experience part of that, right? Nobody, I won't say nobody. A lot of people don't just jump in and they jump straight to M or GM, right? Some of them jump in at B, C, and they have to gain that experience, which is gaining skill. So when you get to that high level of skill, you've put in the work. So now you can teach down. You can't be a and try to teach somebody who's already gained that. It doesn't make sense.
Where my issue came in and why I made the video initially was over the past few years, I saw folks like Smiley saying who are jumping in, who have this level of skill and understanding and knowledge, and they're attempting to create classes or teach people at this level. Where if I don't understand, so I have a basic understanding of like tactics and CQB, etc. You will never see me go and try to teach a class on tactics, CQB, and door. Like that's not my lane. Now, I have partners who that's what they do for a living. So what they'll do is they'll outsource their students to, hey, go see Barber for your instructing and your shooting. He'll be here on our live fire day, and then on the day that we need to go kick down doors, he'll be here to instruct you on the shooting aspect. But as far as this is how you do it, when you do it, it's not my world. I have this amount of level of skill in that area. I'm not going to try to jump to here to teach it. So what I saw, even on just the, let's say, basic level shooter, you have basic level shooters becoming instructors. They're getting rubber stamped, trying to teach others skills that they have barely honed for themselves. So that was where my issue came in, because shooting and guns and is cool stuff for us gun folks, but when it comes to protecting yourself or firing off that gun, to me, I hold that at a very high standard, and I'm passionate about it. So when I see it getting watered down, or I see that what you're teaching, you don't have a complete understanding on it, and you're possibly putting somebody else's life in danger with what you're teaching or showing, I have a problem with it.
Which, to your point earlier, right, with everything revamping, I think this is one of the better years for stuff, because the overnight instructor, me and you spoke about this, is essentially dead right now. There's not a lot of them, right? And that's because people like Trey, a lot of the guys that are those highly skilled shooters like yourselves, are coming in and showing the people the difference between the two, right? They'll go take a class. I mean, I'm sure all three of you have had students that are like, I've never shot like this before. I've taken XYZ classes. That's because you have the people that you're explaining that are getting certified overnight but don't have the experience to teach it. So I think with the training program, right, if they start harping and pushing more of instructor development, maybe they can take the positive of the overnight instructor, right, and blend it into, okay, we have instructors that are becoming instructors, I guess you could say faster, but they are more skilled. They're not just getting the stamp, hey, you can teach now. Hey, now you can teach to this level. Let's understand lanes as well. Stay in your lane, teach this, outsource where you need to.
I love the collaboration, and I use it because, again, I know the product that I offer, and I know the market that I have. But when women will ask me, or their husbands or whoever, right, hey, I have a question about shotguns, or I have a question about rifle, and I'm like, look, I can do it, but I can't do it to the level that I would feel confident in teaching you. And here, I have a list of other trainers who I have confidence in, who I've taken training from, because we do collaborative trainings together, so that we know, hey, I trust how Kerry trains. You trust how I train, and we have to do that collaborative training. But now it's like, hey, let's leverage each other. But I feel like the rubber stamped instructors, the confidence and also the humbleness, the humbleness needs to be there of, hey, I can't be the best at everything. You can be really good at one thing, and you focus on that specialty, and then use us, right, as a group and as a team to make sure that student gets the best training possible.
You should be as well-rounded in the shooting community as possible. Take every shooting class you can. Just understand your lane in instructing it, right? Don't go take a CQB class and be like, all right, I'm going to go teach just because you understand it doesn't mean you can articulate or elaborate to your students to be able to deliver that. If you want to get that training or you want to get to that level, put the work in to get there, right? Law enforcement, CQB, we all know that's a very gray topic, so there's different avenues to get that, but competition shooting. If you want to teach performance style, perform more. Long range shooting, if you want to do that, go ahead and get the experience in that.
One of the other aspects that a lot of folks miss out on is instructing and teaching is a skill by itself. So my ability to shoot had nothing to do with my ability to deliver that same information. You have people who are in the NFL, NBA, terrible coaches.
Jordan, perfect example.
Right. I was a fairly damn good wrestler. I made it into college to be able to wrestle. When I came out and I had students asking me to teach them to wrestle, I realized, I was like, oh shit,
I just know how to do it.
I've done it for so long, it's natural to me, but now I have to try to show this 12-year-old step by step of how I do this, where my body just does it because I've done it since I was 5.
Right.
Whereas with shooting, I had to teach myself each step. So being able to teach somebody else, I knew the steps. But then I've been teaching, I taught for the Boy Scouts of America for 6 years of all things.
Nice.
Every summer since I was 14. So I learned how to teach massive groups of 9 to 15-year-olds who are, scatterbrained, squirrel.
Best trials to run when you're learning how to teach.
So I learned how to deliver information quickly with efficiently, but a basic. I need your little brain to understand what I'm saying right now very quickly. So I took that style and I'm able to deliver quote unquote advanced or intermediate shooting information on a basic level so everybody can pick it up.
I love that.
My
I
sister,
feel like
she
some of
was
the best
9.
instructors come from a teaching background like that. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. So even like my 9-year-old sister, like one of my buddies, he's a ranger, and I was trying to teach him transitions the other day. Amazing shooter, door kicker, great, but he couldn't get these transitions down. He's gonna see this and be like, God. But my 9-year-old sister, she never had any experience shooting, so I broke that down for her. She's transitioning like a grandmaster shooter. Doesn't give a lick about shooting, but I just thought it was very cool to see that I could deliver information to her who had no background in shooting to be able to take that versus somebody who's already had it, and now you have to try to restructure the way that they've been taught.
That's dope.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's great. The new programs coming out there. I'm doing instructor development because I want quality instructors. I want them to succeed with the investments that they pay, right? And day one, I did performance-based skill development, gun handling, getting better on that aspect. The first class I did, I had 13 people. If I based off the assessments, everything we did, the time trials, if it was just off shooting, 10 out of 13, they're good to go for the program. Then came day 2, diagnostics, coaching, and teach max. You know how many I recommend? 3 of the 13. That's the difference in the industry now. Is shooting's one thing, and really to make it short for all these instructors out there, shooting you have to have a skill level. Coaching, teaching you have to have a skill level. Anybody can give directions, get instructing out of this. Coaching, diagnostics. Then comes business. That's a whole new thing that you're doing tomorrow.
Right. Well, honestly, my last question was going to be, how do we maintain a standard of shooting for our students and ourselves while also accounting for the lowest common denominator, to say the least? Did we already answer that question with this entire conversation?
Kind of, but if you want to bring it to a point, nothing's going to be perfect, so I guarantee we're going to have people slip. But I think the route we're going now, right, it's a standard. He talks about standard 24/7. If these companies that are creating these curriculums cannot sustain a standard and maintain, checking on instructors, the gap gets larger. The people are going to slip through. But if they can find a way to consistently check their instructors every year, every 6 months, whatever it be, that will allow us to, instead of it being an overnight instructor, expand on, okay, we just have good instructors now. We have a good program. How does that work? Couldn't tell you. It's difficult to do across the nation, but I think it does need to be done.
Touch base on it. I train firearms as martial arts, so you have to continuously train, right, to reach that next level. As you were saying, that was beautiful how you put that, by the way. The big thing is, I talked to Rob from McDojo, and that is one of the best things. There's only certain standards we can do for people every year. But one thing say is, at least in our own, if you see stupid shit, call it out. You're going to get somebody killed. And that's why I'm done with it. I'm done with the overnight
I don't call
instructors.
anybody out by name.
No, like, let's say, like, don't go online message. Like, personally message. I'm like, hey, look, I really would think that you taught.
I've done that several times.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
It's never
Unless
been well received.
Yeah. I would never go online just like blast them. But like, hey, a person might like, hey, look, actually, this is some old stuff that you're teaching. If you thought about this or check out this study, you just something like that. But police are in that aspect. So thanks for pointing that out because I was about breaking down that rabbit hole.
To double down, I think the other thing of becoming an instructor is a bit too easy as far as, you know, I'm not picking on USCCA or any of the, or even NRA, but you go and sit through whatever class it is. If you pass with a 70 or if you pass with 100, you both get the same stamp of approval. I'm going to say it's an 8-hour or 16-hour course, but to be honest, just like anything else that has a time requirement, it's not that amount of information in there. It's just an amount of time that you just got to sit your butt in that seat so I can say I did it. Again, I'm with Smiley. I don't know exactly what that process would ever look like, but I think it should be more of a college course style. You've got these these blocks of instruction you need to learn to teach back. You've got a semester, and at the end of the semester, you're evaluated, and that says yes or no to whether you can become an instructor.
I mean, that's what they do in most certifications. You have
Most
to
certifications.
Recert.
Yeah.
There's no standard of information or delivery service in America.
To
There's no
talk
standard.
about the America's greatest overnight instructor, the military instructor, right? Because it took 6 months for me to get fully certified to teach, right? And that's 6 months of me teaching Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, full classes, constantly evaluated. And that's why some of the military instructors, not all, some are really good because now you're putting in those hours. I think that there needs to be more failure. And I say that in the sense of don't move the line forward, move it backwards. Put it in a position where this is the standard. If you cannot reach it, come back. I don't think we should continuously charge for failure because then we're not doing our job to mentor and help train and raise these newer instructors. Keep the line where it is. If they fail, start reevaluating, start refiring, allow them to figure out where they are wrong, and then dissect it a little bit more so you can give good feedback saying, you need help elaborating. Hey, your stage presence or your volume control is bad. Hey, when you're teaching women classes, you're a little too aggressive or too tactical. You need to understand how you can cater to students. I think us developing something like that would truly change it.
If you shoot every qual gold, right, that's your assessment. If it takes you 2 times to pass it, do you think I'm going to stamp your certificate? Hell no. If I see you signed up in March and this class is until November and it takes you had this many misses, I don't have to pass it. I'm not going to. Because if you cannot devote 100% of yourself, if you can't invest 100% into yourself, you're not going to invest into your students. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
All right, we got to sign off because I'm pretty sure they're getting tired of us here now. So just make sure everybody knows where to find you guys. Make sure you're following each other, but go ahead.
You guys can find me on Instagram, YouTube, @Parallel Defense.
Instagram @Archangel Defense Kerry.
I'm some chick who shoots all over. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Did I say Instagram already? Website, some chick who shoots.
Barber Training Solutions on Instagram, Facebook, and website.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining me. This was a great conversation. I wish we could keep it going, but hey, maybe we'll do it part 2 next year.